All right, we are going to be talking about tracing an argument and just kind of going over how to do that. And first, before you start this video, make sure you have this packet. The top should say, if this will, there we go, retake ticket, tracing an argument. We're just going to kind of do this together, and I really need you focused and paying attention and following along so you can best understand, actually truly understand the material, because this is super important, especially for the rest of the quarter. So you need to have a pencil and this packet, which should be at the beginning or at the front of the class. So first I do want you to go to the second page, and I want you to go all the way to the bottom. And we're going to fill this out first, because first you need to know what is a claim, what are reasons, what counts as evidence in an argument or essay, all of these types of things to understand and be able to pick it out of an article. So first, I already wrote this because I've already tried to record it and I messed up. So what is a claim in general? So it's a statement that supports a position. So it's going to be something like dogs are better than cats, period. Or teachers should be paid more, period. Or school should have, I don't know, or homework should be banned, period. So it's a statement that supports a position. You need to write that. And of course, pause this video if you need to. If I'm going too quickly. So then the next thing are, what are reasons? So these reasons are just, so let's think about it in like, homework should be banned. What is the reason that homework should be banned? So it's just ideas that back up the claim. Okay, ideas that back up the claim. So for example, homework should be banned, and then I might say something like, homework should be banned because students already have enough stress, period. Okay, and then of course, we would have to have evidence to back up those reasons. So the evidence is kind of like your proof, right? So then that proof, what counts as evidence? So what I mean by that is when I'm looking for find the evidence, it's going to say things like according to the CDC, according to a scientific study, according to this survey. So like we've talked about, you should be looking for something that says something like a survey, according to this statistic. Survey, statistic, a scientific study, or this expert said this, right? Expert quote. Those are things that count as evidence in an argumentative essay. Okay, now what is a counterclaim? Let's first look at the root word, which is claim, right? Claim. So let's think about it. We know what a claim is. So counter it, add counter in front of that. That means opposite of the claim. So we've talked about it's the other side. So it's just acknowledging the other side, right? So a lot of times it starts with like, some may say, or it might say something, or it might start with, or it also might start with however. That's what I've seen. So if you see these words, especially at the closer to the bottom of the essay, that's usually where you will find it. Okay. Then what is the rebuttal? So the rebuttal is just you responding to the counterclaim. Because remember, you acknowledge what the other side's going to possibly say, and then you pretty much say why that's not going to work, right? So it's the response to the counterclaim. It's pretty much saying why the counterclaim is not true. Okay, once you have these all written down, I want you to turn to the very back. So first, we're going to go to the front and we're going to highlight the sentence that states the author's claim in yellow. As you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't have all of my colors right now, so I'm just going to use my pencil. I'm fine if you do that too, and as long as you are, labeling what each thing is. So the claim is usually at the very beginning, right? So let's talk about it. The claim is what? A statement that supports a position. Should schools have later start times? That's not telling me which side, so that would be the argument. I don't even think I put that. The argument is just, should schools have later start times? Later school start times should be implemented in middle school and high school because they improve students' academic performance and mental health. Adolescents experience natural changes in their sleep cycles that make it difficult to fall asleep early, yet many schools will start before 8 a.m. As a result, students are chronically sleep deprived, which negatively affects their learning and well-being. Adjusting school schedules to better match students' biological needs would create healthier and more effective learning environments. So the claim is just not telling me why later school start times should be implemented. It is just telling me that they should be implemented. It is their side. So it is the very first sentence. Right? Later school start times. This is the claim. All right, what's the next thing? It says highlight the first reason that supports the claim in blue. So this is just kind of introducing your topic, right? This is the introduction. They're kind of giving me a little bit of like a taste of what's to come. So let's keep reading. Later school start times are beneficial because they improve academic performance. Sleep is essential for memory, focus, and problem solving, all of which are for critical learning. So the first reason, which it's an idea that backs up the claim, right? So it's saying later school start times are good because they improve academic performance. And you need to underline or highlight in blue the entire sentence. So this is reason one. And then I'm pretty sure we're going to need evidence next in green. Evidence that supports. So we are looking for the proof. Survey, statistics, scientific study, expert quote. So let's reread. Later school start times are beneficial because they improve academic performance. Sleep is essential for memory, focus, and problem solving, all of which are critical for learning. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, students who get sufficient sleep demonstrate better attention, improve grades, and higher test scores. This evidence shows that while well-rested students are more prepared to succeed academically. The evidence is just them citing their actual source. So I'm just going to actually circle this one because I don't have my highlighters with me at this moment. But if you want to just do what I'm doing, I don't really care. So this is evidence for reason one. Okay? Because it's an actual fact from the American Academy of Pediatrics. It's an expert quote. All right, so let's keep going. I think next we're looking for reason two, the second reason. Additionally, later start times are important because they support students' mental health. Sleep deprivation has been linked to increased levels of anxiety, depression, and stress amongst teenagers. So they're saying Later start times are important because they support students' mental health. So it's all, this paragraph is going to be all about mental health because that's our reason. Reason 2. Okay, boom. All right, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that adolescents who sleep fewer than 8 hours per night are significantly more likely to experience persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. So they are citing the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. That would be the evidence, which is an expert quote from the Centers of Disease Prevention. So I believe that was a scientific study. They didn't say it was a study, but it was a study. So I'm going to put evidence for reason 2. Some critics argue, I'm so sorry. These findings highlight the connection between sleep and emotional well-being. So next we're going to look for the counterclaim, which again is the other side. It's going to say the other side. So sorry. It's the other side, and they might say, some may say, or things like that. Okay, I lied. I don't know why I said however. That's actually not true. I must have been confused. Response to the counterclaim. This is usually the rebuttal. They usually say however here. So sorry about that. So some critics argue that later school start times would interfere with after-school activities, sports, and family schedules. It's kind of saying that later school start times would interfere with the after school. So it's kind of telling the other side. I wonder if that's the counterclaim. It is. Because they're acknowledging the other side. They're saying, you know what? They actually have a little bit of an argument here. And it also helps with like not seeming biased because you're only like showing one side. All right, let's keep reading. We're trying to find the rebuttal. While this concern is valid, schools that have adopted later start times have successfully adjusted extracurricular schedules without reducing student participation. Research also shows that students who are well rested perform better in athletics and activities due to increased energy and focus. Therefore, the challenges of adjusting schedules do not outweigh the scientific benefits of later school start times. I would just say it's this sentence. I get it's a lot. It's a few sentences, but like I would say this is the main sentence. While this concern is valid, schools have adopted, because it's saying like this is a valid concern. However, it's pretty much saying that other schools have figured it out. They've adjusted these extracurricular schedules to reduce. Okay, that would be the rebuttal. Okay, so this should help you figure out how to trace that argument a little bit better. This needs to have your name and your class on it. You need to turn this in. But yeah, I think you guys are going to do great, and hopefully this helps and you will be ready to retake that assessment.